Another racing season has nearly come and gone. Just 2 races remain in the 2025 TC America powered by Skip Barber season. And what better venue to crown a champion officially than this one, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello and welcome to the Brickyard. Ryan Marine, Calvin Fish here in the booth. It is Amanda Busick down in the pit lane on a chilly October morning in the state capital of Indiana. 2 races to go. Championship more or less, well, it is wrapped up. Let's be honest about that. Jeff Rika got the job done the last time out at Barber Motorsports Park, but still plenty to race for, including the chance at glory here at Indianapolis. As I mentioned, it is a cool morning, only 60 degrees Fahrenheit, a nice breeze as well coming across the track. And it's time now for the first touring car race of the weekend, Calvin. It is short, it is sharp, just 25 minutes, and at the end, a chance to kiss the famous bricks.
Yeah, it's certainly been on everyone's mind, I would think, coming into this weekend. We've seen a real change at the front of the pack here with Jonathan Neudorf and that development program with JMF and the Toyota GR Corolla. Swept the weekend at Barber. That was a triple header weekend, and they sweep the front row here with the 2 teammates. So they're certainly on the rise. It's been great to see that program develop. But you know that the Hyundais may have a little bit something extra up their sleeve come race time.
They've been so strong all year long. But we have seen the resurgence of that JMF team with the Toyotas. They've really come on strong in the second half of the season and announced their presence by sweeping the front row here for this race. But you're right, there are a bunch of fast Hyundais behind. You can't count out the Acuras either, and a couple of Mazdas as well to round out the grid.
Yeah, certainly fascinating. It's a melting pot. The grid is growing. We expect to see more cars on the grid starting the 2026 season. So it's exciting. I think it's great to see JMF work with Toyota. They can't say enough about Toyota in terms of the support they've got from the factory, in terms of everyone being here. If they have a technical issue, they're working on it. I believe there's a slight turbo adjustment that they had coming into this weekend to try and gain a little bit more power and get them on an even match in the straightaway with the Hyundais. But different race cars, of course. The Hyundai's got that longer wheelbase. It's a kind of rhythm section here through the infield. That should really pay dividends. 25-minute race, tire degradation shouldn't come into it, but it should only get them into their sweet spot maybe in the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, the grid is set. We're about to go for the second to last race of the season, so let's head down to Amanda in the pits.
Hey guys, yeah, there's just something so unique about pulling into Indianapolis Motor Speedway when it's still dark outside as we set for racing here on this dynamic Saturday, Super Saturday, let's call it. But Jonathan Neudorf on the pole to kick off this first race here in TC America. Jonathan, last weekend to go at it, and it looks like this Toyota car is making a turn.
Yeah, you know, Toyota feels good this weekend. It feels strong. We're getting the command to start engines, but yeah, it feels good. Hoping to keep the ball rolling from Barber and keep the win streak alive.
All right, guys, there it was. Driver, start your engines. Let's get this thing going.
Jonathan mentioned the win streak, 3 on the bounce, swept the weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. It has been a good second half of the year, 4 wins in total, an additional podium in that stretch as well. And prior to the VIR round, he had not finished better than 5th in any race. So that goes to show that constant development that's going on with the Toyota program.
Well, I think when they didn't have the power to really compete, they tried to drag everything else out of the drivers, out of the chassis, and suddenly they got a little bit more power, and I think that's really paid off for them.
And of course, in inclement weather, these cars are outstanding. It's a 4-wheel drive platform. No worries about rain today, but that might not be the case tomorrow morning when the season wraps up.
Yeah, that is definitely forecast right now to have quite a bit of rain here tomorrow, so that could certainly come into play for the final round of the championship.
Cars starting to roll out on the grid. Still so much to be determined here this year, including a fight for the Hyundai Cup, and that is a special championship within a championship, Calvin, that helps to recognize some of the young talent in the Hyundai cars that Rick Autosport has helped prepare with a pretty neat carrot dangling at the end of the stick.
Yeah, the number 1 carrot is the fact that there's a seat available for the Nürburgring 24-hour event next year, so that is massive for some of these drivers to have that opportunity to compete on the global stage. And outside of that, they'll also select a driver who'll do a test with Brian Herder Autosport here in the Indianapolis area at Putnam Park on Monday. Mark Wilkins, one of their factory drivers, is here this weekend, is like a judge and advisor for all this young talent. So great to see that support. We talked about Toyota certainly giving great support to JMF, but Hyundai are fully behind their entries in this championship as well.
Cars out on the first of 2 formation laps on this chilly morning. An important time for the drivers to get a sense for what the track conditions are like and to start building the heat into the brakes and the tires. We'll talk about the track now. Just under 2.5 miles on the road course at Indianapolis, 14 turns around. This is the field that will be taking to the track here in a matter of moments. It is Jonathan Neudorf, the pole sitter, with his teammate Antonio Costantino alongside. Great qualifying effort for the JMF teammates. Dean Lambros making his debut in the series with Skip Barber Racing next to the veteran and reigning TCA champion PJ Gronke. It's James Klimas in another Toyota. This is another Skip Barber Racing entry next to Jeff Rica for Rica Autosport and the Hyundai camp. Eric Coons is back once again. That's another Hyundai. Same can be said for CJ Sepulveda. Welcome back to CJ after a strong start to his season. Connor Ratrell makes a return. He'll start alongside Alana Carter, who was really strong in her first ever TC race at Barber just last month. Then out back from FTG Racing, Chris Taylor, Joey Jordan. They feel like they've made some strides with those Mazdas. We hope to see that on display in the race, but Joey might have had some troubles. He was falling behind on the first formation lap, and I don't know that I saw him at the end of the train. Did not set a great lap time in qualifying. There he is, though. That's good news. That car still is out there on the track, and hopefully any remaining issues might have been taken care of, but the development process continues on these Mazdas, and Joey's been a big part of that over the last few years.
Yeah, they're just staying the course, just trying to identify all the little technical issues that they had initially, get those sorted out. He may just be dropping back so we can have a bit of a charge up and get an even better feel. Certainly it's a good exploratory lap here to try and get a feel for the conditions, but if you sit back a little bit, you can rush through a couple of corners and really see what the car's feeling like.
How about this infield road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Calvin? What sections of the track have your attention?
Well, I think both the first sector and when you get through the middle part of the lap down at the end of this Holman Boulevard and into turn 7 and through there, it's really interesting to see how much of the curbs that the cars can eat up through here. It's very much a rhythm section. You've got to be super smooth with your inputs through there, just try and carry good minimum speed through the apexes, and it's fun. You can go side by side, particularly with these touring cars, so we should see plenty of action through this little sector here before you wind up back out onto the speedway. 2
really long straightaways here, of course, as well. The slipstream very much in effect in these relatively low horsepower touring cars. We've seen some really good races here at the Speedway in TC America over the years. Hoping for more of the same with just 2 races and 50 minutes of racing left in the 2025 season. We're about to get started with the second to last race of the campaign, a season that started all the way back in the spring at Sonoma Raceway in Northern California, concluding here in October in Indianapolis. It is the pair of Toyotas on the front row, JMF Motorsports teammates Jonathan Neudorf and Antonio Costantino. Then the debutant Dean Lambros next to PJ Gronke in the best placed of the Hyundais. PJ feeling as sanguine as ever about his chances here this weekend. Into the acceleration zone. There's the green flag. A great jump by the pole sitter Neudorf. Now the fight is on, potentially for the second spot. Lambros looked like he got a pretty good run. That's the black and white and red car, the Acura, looking down the inside. He's got PJ Gronke's blue Hyundai alongside. Lambros is able to hang on to this spot. Looks like Gronke's able to solidify his 4th, but he's been challenged here by James Klimas in the early going.
Yeah, it was really tight there. He had 3 cars going side by side, and looks like maybe Joey Jordan has a little issue there. Just lost a bit of power accelerating off of turn 2, but up front, what a start for Neudorf. Got the jump on his teammate. His teammate had to watch to see if he was going to be attacked into that brake zone, so he is pretty conservative, and this allowed Neudorf a big jump here.
Lambros, too, a pretty good start, as he was challenging for second just a few moments ago. Didn't get the move made and lost some momentum through the 5-6 chicane. Here's the leader, Neudorf, now with a pretty hefty advantage over his teammate Costantino, who is being hounded by Lambros with PJ Gronke not too far behind in the first of the Hyundais.
Yeah, I mean, in qualifying, they were only separated by like 7/100ths of a second, the two teammates. But on this opening lap, Newhoff's got his head down, as he said to Amanda. He wants to continue this win streak, coming off those 3 victories on the bounce at Barber Motorsports Park. Wants to finish the season on a high.
We talk about the four-wheel drive being an advantage in the wet, but how about on cold tires? Is there an advantage on the starts?
Yeah, certainly. You're just going to get a bit more energy going through all 4 wheels, but right now, it looks like Constantino has got his hand full. Lambros is on the attack here early.
Up to the outer bricks for the first time at speed. Neudorf, the leader by 2.2 seconds over Constantino, who got a good jump out of 14 and now has a little bit of breathing room. Meanwhile, it's a side-by-side battle. Jeff Ricca, James Klimas fighting for position. That's the champion-elect Ricca in the primarily white car, squeezing to the inside. The black machine of Klimas, and he's able to hang on to the spot. Klimas drifts out wide, and here comes CJ Sepulveda, the Puerto Rican, on the attack.
Yeah, I have to wonder whether Jeff Ricca is really trying to be the ultimate wingman and team boss for PJ Gronke. Gronke comes into this round of the championship only 9 points back of Neudorf for that P2 position in this championship chase. But with Neudorf out front, there's not much that Ricca can do to help PJ. He's just got to get up on the wheel here a little bit.
At the end of a lap and a half, it is Neudorf in front. Joey Jordan, we might have picked up that he could have had some issues. Amanda might have more on that story.
Yeah, just getting caught up with the team this morning. They said they were efforting on this Mazda for 12 hours yesterday. They were not able to pull a hardship lap this morning in effort to just save time and changing tires. Problem with that Mazda is just getting it up to power is what's being relayed by Joey.
All right, man, that has to be frustrating for Joey. They had high hopes, felt like that car was in good shape coming into the weekend. Still time to get it turned around, even if this race doesn't quite go according to plan. One more race still to come later on in the weekend. All right, now Joey out back of the pack and trying to chase down his teammate, Chris Taylor.
Well, we talked about the Hyundais maybe having something to show here on race day, but so far we haven't seen that. As you see, PJ Gronke being shadowed here by his team boss and champion-elect Jeff Ricca. But right now they sit a good 4.5, 5 seconds back from the leaders right now, and we're in the early stages of this 25-minute race. So I think for Jeff Ricca, he's got a decision to make here. Does he want to just sit behind PJ, or does he want to kind of lead him up to that pack potentially?
PJ and the leader, Jonathan Neudorf, are in a battle for second in points. It's just a handful, 7 points separating the two of them coming into the final race of the season. But with Neudorf out in front, that would only solidify his position in second. Meanwhile, Gronke leaves the door open to the inside, and Jeff Ricca says, nope, time to go. He's made the pass. He's through on the Canadian and up into the 4th spot.
Yeah, I just got a feeling he's got to say, listen, we've got to get our heads down here. We're dropping too far back. And look at that. Lambros drops a wheel there coming through turn 10.
He's pushing hard, trying to keep pace with the front group. Dean, a graduate of the Skip Barber Formula Car Series. Skip Barber using its Formula Car Series as a jumping off point, and then has destinations for its graduates now to come and race in a series like TC America.
It's great to have that ladder system in place, because then you can talk to a young potential aspiring driver. Listen, get on board here with us and we'll take you to the top. And I think they've done a great job of gradually developing that opportunity for the young driver.
Klimas now taking a run at PJ Gronke down the front straightaway at Indy. That's the black Toyota taking a look.
PJ gets in there too deep, gets a little bit wide there. Misses turn 1, but they're side by side here through turn 2. Klimas has got that move made by the time they get to the next corner.
James has had a good finish to his season as well, with the best finish of the year of 5th. Did that twice, once at DIR, once at Barber Motorsports Park. Right now, running in that 5th position. So any positions gained from here would mean a season best result.
Going to be really curious to see now. Jeff Ricca's kind of escaped the clutches of the cars he was around, to see now he's got clean air on the front end of that Hyundai, to see how his lap times compare with the Toyotas up front. Right now, his best lap is a 1:37.8. Nudov has the fastest lap of the race out front at 1:36.5, but I think this next lap could be an indicator. If he has anything, potentially go down and chase those two Toyotas up front.
Here is the race leader, Jonathan Neudorf, for the JMF Motorsports team. What a season they're putting together across multiple categories. They'll be in the Indy 8-hour, powered by AWS, later on today. There's our circuit performance on Race Vision, powered by AWS, and Toyota with the best sector times in all three sectors, split between the top two cars.
Yeah, really interesting there as we saw Nudorf come through turn 13. He had to do a quick shift there. So a lot of the times, I mean, these are a gearbox. You can't switch the individual ratios per gear. So sometimes you're in between gears, and it seemed like he had to run the lower gear, probably second gear coming through there, and immediately jump up to third before he'd even exited the corner. Oh, that was tight there.
Yeah, two teammates from the Ricca Autosport stable. CJ Sepulveda took a lunge to the inside of PJ Gronke. PJ was able to hang on, and look at them bunch up behind. It's a whole armada of these Hyundai Elantras running in a line. PJ Gronke, CJ Sepulveda, Eric Coons, and Connor Attrell, as well as Alana Carter, all running in lockstep.
Right now, I'd say the answer to that question I posed is that Ricca does not have a lot in hand. He just ran a 1:37.6, but nowhere near Nudov, who's jumped that fast lap down to 1:36.4. So it's going to be a long day for these Hyundais that seem kind of running mid-pack here this weekend for the first time this season.
Yeah, not used to seeing that at all. Here's a look at the points as they run. Ricca clinched the championship with several rounds to go the last time out at Barber, but it is still tight in the fight for second and third. That said, as they run, Nudorf, by virtue of leading this race, and Gronke's now slipped back to sixth, so that's seen this lead expand tremendously.
Yeah, 9 points coming in at the weekend, so it's blown out a little bit further. So I don't think there's much that PJ can do about it. It just doesn't seem like their cars have the pace here at Indy this weekend compared to the Toyotas.
Right now, he's got his hands full, does PJ, with CJ Sepulveda. Great to have CJ back. It's been a little while since we've seen him. Sebring, the third round of the season, has 3 podiums in 5 starts this year. Had a chance to catch up with him briefly, asked him what he's been up to since we saw him last. Gronke maybe with some problems there as he goes deep into one. That opens the door, and Sepulveda goes through to take 6th place away.
Happened a couple of times now. We saw it not to the same extent a couple of laps ago, and he's a little bit wide here trying to get in. He's just out of rhythm right now. May have got some marbles on his tires. You would have thought that the track got swept last night. It should be relatively clean offline, but he's just out of rhythm and being swamped by his teammates.
Coons is through. Next to take a shot is Attrell, and Alana Carter is there too. PJ Gronke very much on the back foot here. It's 2 by 2. Thundering down the Holman Boulevard into turn 7. Gronke slipping back once again.
Yeah, just trying to get back into his stride here. Finally finds a slot, settles back in. Just got to get his head down. He's got to give himself at least a shot going into the final round of the championship here tomorrow morning.
Now it's
for that P2 in the title race.
That's right. Now it's Coons and Attrell scrapping. Coons in 77, Attrell in 75. This is for 7th and 8th. Already 10 minutes gone by, just 15 and change remain. These races go quickly, don't they, in this new format this year?
They really do. See how Gronke handles the brake zone when he gets down to turn 1 once again, coming back up onto the Speedway. Fastest part of the racetrack will be right just before they get to the brake pedal. Seems like he's got good straightaway speed there as he comes alongside his teammate, but now, having missed the entry of this corner a couple of times, let's see how conservative he is or whether he still goes on the attack.
He's able to blitz around the outside of Attrell. This is where he's had his problems.
That was nice and tidy.
Yes, it was.
I find you got those big signboards up on the fence there on the approach there, but one thing I always found difficult, I used to use like depth of session looking for the brake zones into a corner, and you kind of look straight down the road into Speedway turn 4, so there's no real reference point there. And I think when you get side by side, maybe on the inside, that makes it even trickier because you don't have those signboards, those marker boards to your left side there. You're trying to catch those in your peripheral vision.
Gronke recovers a little bit, at least, able to get back up one more spot, but after qualifying quite well, being the first of the Hyundai Brigade, race has not quite gone according to plan.
Seems like he settled back in. Car seems to be carving the corners nicely. Just wonder if he just missed his braking points a couple of times down there in turn 1, and that was why it was washing out on the front end.
He's back on his rhythm now, isn't he?
He is. He's on the brakes a little bit earlier than the car in front of him.
It's Eric Coons. Eric, car squirming under him.
He's got to focus on this exit here, because it seems like PJ's car does have good straightaway speed compared to his teammates. So if he can pull the draft here a little bit, see what he can do as he gets a little bit further and deeper into the run.
Tell you what, Coons felt the pressure immediately. Pulled down to the inside. Gronke elects not to go and follow him for the slipstream. Instead, works his way to the outside.
Yeah, all good there. So whatever braking issues that he was having, he's made an adjustment, or just not trying to take it in as deep and missing that braking point, and ultimately his turn into turn 1. So he's definitely back into a rhythm here. Got back up on the wheels. A great job here by PJ to recover.
We've talked about it all year. PJ's been the first to admit this car has taken some adjusting to get used to, having won a championship in the old TCA class last year. But it did seem like maybe midway through the season he was starting to make some progress.
Yeah, I think when I spoke to him early on, he said, I'm just overdriving the car, just got to settle down, just let it roll speed through the corners. And it's an adjustment, but he's got such a great mentor there with Jeff Rick, who knows these cars so well. And I think it's been a great move for PJ. I think he's a great fit for this team. I think if he comes back next year, he'll have learned so much about how to drive one of these Hyundais and should be in better shape for the championship. And some conjecture about whether we'll see Jeff Ricker back on the grid or whether he'll just step back and let his young Chargers take the effort forward.
I'll talk to PJ briefly about what his plans for next year might be, and he's always hustling, trying to put a program together. But he said his motivation is the fact they've added Road Atlanta to the calendar next year. That's one track he's never been to.
Okay.
So that maybe alone is enough to keep him at it, although he's got such passion for the sport. Here he comes now in the slipstream, pulls to the outside. PJ Gronke battling with his teammate Eric Coons for position down to turn 1 at Indy. Crosses him over, now looking to the outside. This is that section of the track where if you can get the rhythm right, you might be able to get the overlap and gain a spot.
Yeah, it was like a chess move there, trying to be 3 steps ahead, but couldn't quite make it stick by the time they got to turn 4.
And just behind, it's a good battle too with Luttrell and Carter. We also got a glimpse of the fact that CJ Sepulveda has run down James Klimas, so 5th and 6th still up for grabs. All of this happening well behind the leading duo of Neudorf and Costantino. Neudorf leads by 6 seconds. Costantino has about 2 seconds in hand over Dean Lambros, who sits a solid 3rd here on debut.
Seems like Neudorf is just challenging himself right now, continues to drop that fast lap of the day. 136.207, which is a good 4 or 5 tenths clear of his teammate and the rest of the pack. So looks like he's getting in good position to grab that pole position for race 2 here this weekend, which is based on the fastest lap of the race in race 1, of course.
8, 9, and 10. The scrap we're looking at here. Gronke wide, kicks up some dust. Does it cost him momentum? Doesn't look like it. Kept his foot buried in the throttle. And actually, the fight is behind him, it would appear. Gronke got a nice run through 14, so now it's Carter lining up a trail for position.
Gets the draft there, pops out early on the better pavement in terms of braking. There's more rubber down on the line, of course, compared to being middle of the road. Troll there just tried to, ooh, that was tight there. Lana just poked her nose in there briefly, exiting turn 2.
Luttrell was a race winner here, if you recall, a year ago. Finished 2nd in race 1, won race 2 in just his 2nd weekend in TC America competition.
Yeah, certainly a highlight of his season to grab the big win at Indy, kiss the bricks, as you said at the start of the show. Certainly on everyone's bucket list. If you're a race car driver, you want to compete at Indy and then ultimately be on a podium and then the victory. Great to get this drone shot here, the aerial view carving through this 2nd infield sector of the racetrack. You have it from turn 1 through turn 5, and then again from 7 through 10. Tricky break zone coming up here. Down into turn 12, we focus back on the leader, Neudorf. 7 seconds plus to the good out front, but continuing to push. Last lap was a 36.6, about 4/10 off his best of the day.
And it's been a really strong weekend for JMF across the board here in TC America, GT4 America, plus in GT World Challenge America in the Indy 8 Hour 2. And Amanda's found someone who could tell us more about it.
Absolutely right. And actually, I was at lunch at Charlie Brown's down in Speedway a couple days ago and saw the full roster of drivers for JMF, and we were talking about next season's plans, and all those guys are waiting to know what's going on for them as well. But we see Jonathan and Antonio in this race. But you guys have a shootout coming up, Danny. What's that about?
Well, we're all about finding new up-and-coming talent. Our goal is to find new young drivers, move them up through the series, and see where they end up. So, yeah, we'll be here. Driver lineups to be determined for next year.
When you look at what happened this season, you look at Jonathan, you look at Antonio, and just the development that we've had with Toyota this season, where's the program at right now?
We're super happy. They did exactly what we expected them. We hadn't given them the best car to start with. We did a lot of development alongside Toyota to develop these cars, and now we're seeing the fruits of all that hard work from both Toyota and ourselves and our drivers who've really stepped up.
Thank you, Danny. He is the CEO of JMF, and also need to mention John Farrow, who has just put such a commitment behind this effort in driver development within the SRO paddock.
That's such a wonderful story, what John Farrow has done. Man who loves the sport, has the means to support up-and-coming race car drivers, give them a chance to showcase their skills, and it's been a great launching pad for a couple of young drivers over the last few years.
It really has, and spoke to Danny myself this weekend. He said John just loves this sport. He loves the fact that the team has developed and progressed. Now we're regularly scoring podiums and wins, and you can see the excitement on his face. Loves to bring his family here for the race weekends, and very special person in our paddock is John Farrow.
7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, all running together as they have been for a good chunk of this race, this freight train, led by Eric Coons. This is Chris Taylor in the first of the FTG Racing Mazdas. Good to have Chris back. Made his debut at Barber Motorsports Park. Didn't see the finish in the first 2 of the 3 races, but did make it to the checkered flag in race 3, which is an important component of any development project. They're doing their development at the racetrack, and you know, it's always going to have its hiccups, but they continue to make strides and showing up with a couple of cars this year at most of the races that helps drive them forward.
Yeah, and Chris done a really nice job here, carving some nice lines around this circuit. There's his teammate Joey Jordan. It's about 20 seconds back. I think he's still struggling a little bit with the power, as he mentioned, or Amanda mentioned, that he'd related to the team here in the early going. We saw him come. It was more prevalent. You could see it when he was up around other cars. He just didn't have the acceleration of the other cars coming off the corners. But he's persevering here, just trying to learn as he goes. And they'll be rewarded, just like the JMF have been with the Toyota program. Just got to continue to push, focus on every area, not just the power delivery issues that they've got here today.
5 minutes to go in the first of 2 races this weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. TC America powered by Skip Barber. Eric Coons right now fighting with his teammate PJ Gronke. Couple of Canadians here scrapping over positions 7 and 8. Eric Coons is last year's Sports Car Championship Canada TCA champion and has had some good runs this year. A couple of podium finishes. He's at 4th in points coming into this season finale weekend, and he's keeping a 2-time TC America champion behind him right now in the form of PJ Gronke.
Yeah, I think PJ's just trying to figure out a solution to the fact that Coons runs that very shallow entry down into the turn 1 brake zone. PJ's trying to do the crossover. I think if he just carves the corner in turn 2 a little bit quicker, he's kind of sitting out there and waiting a long time, almost inviting his... Oh, there's a problem there.
Yep, that's Alana Carter has gone around, maybe dropped a wheel in the grass in the braking zone and goes for a spin. Doesn't look like she hit anything. Is able to continue on.
Wonder if she had positioned her car alongside a Trell and a Trell didn't realize that she was right there.
Tough to tell from that angle, but certainly a possibility.
Yeah, Trell seemed, it didn't look like he moved out to the right, so I'm not sure if she just misjudged it a little bit. It's a shame, but I think she's okay in terms of any damage to the race car.
And what a debut she had, right? Finishing second in her first ever front-wheel drive race. Had never driven front-wheel drive cars. Background originally in dirt and paved oval racing, and then has gone road racing in recent years. Radicals and other sports cars, but all rear-wheel drive cars until she turned up at Barber and was instantly on the pace there. And I know she's working on putting something together. Would love to be back.
Let's watch this again. Down in that turn 1 brake zone, so you've got Coons kind of run that shell line. Right here, I think PJ needs to carve it a little bit tighter. You see almost loses ground there through the turn 2 apex. I think if he sets up high but then just gets on with the program, now he's close there into turn 4. Great little battle. I'm sure they'll chew on this between now and race finish here today and the start tomorrow in terms of what a great battle it's been with these teammates.
It's half the fun, right? Getting to relive the battles with your friends after the race.
A bit of bench racing. You've got some internal bets who's going to buy dinner tonight.
Here's Neudorf again out in front, and his day is not done. One of several drivers that is active in multiple championships here this weekend, also racing with Jesse Webb in GT4 America in the silver class this year for JMF in an Aston Martin. So 2 very different platforms, but we've seen Jonathan be extremely quick in both.
And I think if he's able to pull off the win here today, we're looking at his teammate right now, Constantino. This is his best run of the year. I think with Neudorf winning and PJ kind of a little bit deeper in the pack, that could give him enough buffer to actually seal P2 in the championship even before the green flag here tomorrow morning.
This is by far Antonio's best run of the year, and he's been hit by more than his fair share of misfortune over the year, but up to this point, a best finish of 6th on the season. He's done that a couple of times. This would be a big first podium for the Vancouver, British Columbia native. Comes from a racing family. His father was an amateur racer in the SCCA, primarily in the GTL category, and then Antonio grew up racing Formula 1600, basically Formula Ford cars, including a second place finish in the Canadian Championship back just 1 year ago.
I think it's got to be a tough year for him to see his teammate kind of grab these victories, but this is a great finish for him. I mean, his fast lap is within about 4/10 of his teammate who runs out front, so this is really a great way to finish off his 2025 campaign for Constantino.
James Klimas is shown as stopped on track. He was running in 5th at the time. He's dropped down to 10th. Joey Jordan should overhaul him soon. Also have to report Chris Taylor is, I believe, in the pit lane. Has not turned a lap in a few laps. We're on the last lap here, though. And there is Klimas off to the side of the road. Oh, dear.
The front end.
Wow, that's really unfortunate. James was looking really racy here this afternoon, or this morning. That'll be a disappointing way for this one to end. Not so, though, for the JMF team. 1-2 if they can hang on. Neudorf started from pole position. He figures to start from pole again tomorrow. He's got the best lap of this race by about half a second over his teammate.
Oh, here we go. Battle here on the final lap between Coons and Luttrell.
That is the fight for 6th and 7th now. PJ Gronke has dropped behind this pair. And it's not done yet, with still 1 lap to go here. Half a lap or thereabouts through 5 and 6. 77 is Coons with a Luttrell right there behind, and PJ Gronke would love to get back in it if he possibly can. Coons has to go on the defensive. Luttrell looks to the outside, then Coons covers that off.
A bit of moving around there in the brake zone. I'm not sure what the stewards will think about that.
Jonathan Neudorf onto the front straightaway. He'll see the checkered flag first. The win streak continues. It's up to 4. John Farrow, Danny Koch Company, they'll celebrate a race win and possibly a 1-2 finish. Costantino across the line, his first career podium in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Congratulations to him. Dean Lambrose as well, a podium finish in this race here today for the Skip Barber team. Then it's Jeff Ricca, best placed of the Hyundais. CJ Sepulveda comes across the line to finish in 5th. And now it's Coons, Atrell, and Gronke. One last dash to the yard of bricks, and Coons will fend off Atrell to take 6th. Atrell takes 7th. Gronke is 8th. And Alana Carter comes home in 9th. Now these 3, and I'd throw Alana Carter in the mix too because she was right there. That's going to be a lot of fun for them to recount their battles for 25 straight minutes here today. And these are the JMF teammates celebrating a 1-2 finish. Another win for Neudorf and a first career podium for Costantino.
Yeah, and I think significantly their pace was a lot stronger than the Hyundais here today. First Hyundai in the field, Jeff Ricca, our champion, but is fast lap, about 1.4 off of the Toyotas. So that's a huge swing when you think about where we started the championship season.
And that's in the dry. Chances are we're racing in the rain tomorrow for the season finale, and that's where the four-wheel drive Toyotas really thrive. 10 seconds, the margin of victory. Neudorf over Costantino, then it's Lambrose, Ricca, Sepulveda, the top 5. Coons, Atrell, Gronke, Carter, and Joey Jordan, the top 10. Limas and Taylor had misfortune late in the race and did not see the checkered flag. Frustrating end to the day for those two. Hopefully whatever the problems might be, they can be rectified, and everyone will be ready to race for the finale coming up tomorrow here in Indianapolis.
Just unofficially, I think Neudorf now has the 30-point margin over PJ, so that will lock down P2 in the championship despite whatever happens here on Sunday.
Now that will be something to relish for sure. A great end to the season for Neudorf to get up to that 2nd position. Highlights of this second to last race of the year for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. It was Jonathan Neudorf from pole position who pulled away and took the lead. Never looked back from that point. Costantino had some early trouble in the form of Dean Lambrose, but ultimately was able to pull ahead. Those two would finish 2nd and 3rd. PJ Gronke ran wide, not for the first time, down in turn 1. That opened the door for one of his teammates to pounce through. CJ Sepulveda then pulled away and was untroubled from that point. Really good scrap though here. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, or thereabouts. Swapping positions back and forth all throughout this 25-minute showdown. No one could touch the Toyotas though. Neudorf was firmly in control out in front. The battles were between the Hyundais behind. Alana Carter went for a spin, but would continue. Congratulations to Jonathan Neudorf at JMF Motorsports. A 1-2 finish. Dean Lambrose completes the podium for the Skip Barber team.